Hello, my presentation this evening is on, well, you'll find out in a minute, giving a clue away there. What's the shortest word in the English language to contain all those letters? Well, if you know what the presentation is on, you'll know that the shortest word is feedback. And feedback is absolutely crucial to the job we do, and if it's used well, it can have such an impact. In fact, so much that John Hattie said in his book, Visible Learning for Teachers, which is a fantastic read, and I would recommend it highly to you, that feedback is among the most common features of successful teaching and learning. It's one of the best tools in the box that we have for maximising progress, but the quality of it is variable, and if it's not used well, it can have very little impact. But if it's used very well, then it can have a great impact on pupils. And like I said, it's in the top 10 of the toolbox that we use. Now, what kind of things should we be giving feedback on? Why is it so important? Well, it tells pupils where they're going. It tells pupils what they need to achieve to get there. And most importantly for us, it tells them what their next steps are. Now, next steps is emboldened because it's really, really vital in this day and age, particularly in light of Ofsted, that we know and that the pupils know how they're going to make the progress that they need to make. And if they're able to do that and they're able to have the learning conversations with you about that, and that the feedback you give them becomes a dialogue between you and them, and you can see the improvement as a result of the feedback you've given, then we're definitely on the right lines to do what we need to do. Feedback needs to be smart. It needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and timely. Now, of course, they're all, of equal weighting, but I can't help but feel that specific is the absolute key there. If students understand what they've got to do in terms of a success criteria, and you're able to give them feedback that tells them how to make that success criteria and how to improve their work based on it, then they're more likely to understand it and actually be able to do it. Now, one of the things that's interested me recently is the amount of feedback that kids give each other. It's really important for us to be spot on with our feedback, but also it's important for students to be good at feedback to each other as well. So just a quick question for you. What percentage of the feedback that kids get each day do you think comes from their peers and not from us as teachers? Now, I would never have guessed this, but the actual figure here is 80%. So 80% of the feedback that pupils get is from each other. Now, the key question here for me is how much of that is useful? Now, that's as low as 20%. So that means that 80% of the feedback they get is given by their peers, and 80% of that is useless and has no impact on their work. That's a huge amount. So one of the key things that I think we need to do is to make sure that they know how to give effective feedback, because if they're given that much, then we need to make sure it's really, really good quality that they're giving. So we need to train them to do that. And one of the ways that we can do that is by thinking about being specific and linking it to success criteria. Here's the top 5 of what pupils gave to each other in terms of feedback. I'm sure you'll recognise quite a few. Number 1, 5, counting down. Use more colour. Colour, neatness should have no impact on the mark that they're given. However, students think it does. Number 4, try to improve spelling. Do you know pupils who actually try to get spellings wrong? I don't. They just don't know how to do it, and they don't have the strategies to improve their spelling. So that's what we need to give them, or we need to be specific about that. Make it neater. Again, similar to the colour idea, it shouldn't make any difference how neat the work is. I know it does sometimes in the back of your mind if you've come to the back of a pile of 30 books. However, it shouldn't have any impact on the qualitative marking that you give it. It's not about how neat it is, it's about how right it is and how correct it is. Add more detail. I've been guilty of that in the past many, many times. I need to get better at that, because how does the student know which detail it is that I want? Can they read my mind? No. So generally, I have to be more specific about what the detail is that they've missed out. Is it about Lord Capulet's anger? Is it about how he's changed his mind from Act 1 to Act 4? Is that the kind of thing? And of course, the old favourite, do it better. Well, in life, if you knew how to do things better, wouldn't you do that? Do you deliberately get things wrong? I don't know. Now, 3 steps to proper feedback were identified by Ron Berger in his excellent book, An Ethic of Excellence. It's a really good read and it's very straightforward and simple. Berger's an American teacher who studied feedback over a number of years, and his ideas are these. Firstly, be kind. No one likes getting a kick in the teeth, so make sure that the students understand that you're trying to help them on the way to what they're doing. Be specific. Actually nail that point, right? If I've asked my students to write an opening to a horror story, and I've told them I'm only going to look at the first paragraph and I want the sentence openers to be excellent. If I then come across success criteria not being met because one student has written then, I would look at that and say repetition, very good. However, what I'd like to see is a range of sentence openers being used. I'd like to see some ly openers and some ing openers to give impact and add movement to your story. I might also suggest that you use a one-word sentence opener such as silence and see how that creates a bit of an atmosphere in the story as well. But I'd be specific, and I'd be that specific about how to improve it. Last one, be helpful. Make sure that they know that you're trying to help them to improve and that their peers know that they're trying to be helpful to get them to improve. Something I've started doing recently when I'm getting them to peer assess each other is telling them that if you can find something that they can improve, because you'll always get someone in the class saying, I don't know what they can improve. Well, in that case, they lose a mark. If they can find nothing to help their partner improve, they lose the mark, not the partner. And that has a very motivating effect on them, as you can imagine. Suddenly last week my class went from being, well, I couldn't do anything, to finding marks for each other, and it was brilliant to watch. So it's really, really strong and powerful motivational tool to get them to work with each other. And they can do it in post-it notes. This does not have to be high tech. This is low tech as you can get. Use mini whiteboards, use post-it notes. All of these tools, very low tech, very effective and very cheap as well. So use those as well when you're trying to get them to improve. Now, I've got an example here of some feedback given. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really, really good. I'd like you to watch it. Take a break from this. Go and watch it. Why is it so good? Why is it effective? Consider it. Now that you're back, some final thoughts. The feedback I thought there, particularly from Michel Roux, was really, really strong in that he gave him 0.5 millimetre too thick. Can you get more specific than that on the ravioli? That the chocolate fondant had been in the oven, was it 30 seconds, a minute too long? It's fantastic feedback, isn't it? He knows exactly what he's got to do to improve. And also when he was making his comment about the other thing, when he said it was nice, but nice. I did say be kind. That's quite hurtful, isn't it? To be told that your food's nice, but that's it. So my final thoughts here would be, tomorrow, what can you do to make your feedback more effective? Is it about training your kids to give more effective feedback? Is it about adjusting your lesson as a result of the feedback that you've given or been given by your students? It's all about progress, and it's all about making sure that learning is taking place in your lesson, and that if you have those conversations with pupils about the feedback you've given them, and we use response to feedback more frequently, and we see a dialogue between teacher and pupil, then we'll see progress. And it's a great feeling to look in a book and see the progress that's there, the story behind it, and that's what inspectors look for when they look at our books. Is there a story? Is there a dialogue between teacher and pupil that makes sure that they're making progress? And that's the key. So that's my final thoughts there on feedback. A few next steps though. Do some reading. I've already highlighted these two books that are absolutely fantastic. Hattie's Visible Learning for Teachers, Berger's An Ethic for Excellence. I would highly recommend both of them to you. They've got a lot of stuff about feedback. Also, Full On Learning by Zoe Elder is another book about feedback as well, and you can see from all of my notes there how heavily thumbed that is, and it's fantastic, and I know that Lorna's speaking about that tonight as well. Get on Twitter. I know I bang on about this a lot and people are probably fed up with it, but it doesn't have to be about being a learning geek. I'm really into my learning, but the other side of that is that I've met some fantastic people in there who've given me a lot of tips over the years and who've been able to have conversations with me and suggestions. And I have no doubt that that's improved my teaching, because I think the CPD that's available through Twitter and the connections that you make will make a difference to what you do in the classroom. And there are people there available in every subject area who would be only too happy to share ideas with you if you get out there. And if you're looking for some tips on it, come and see me. I'll be more than happy to help. And last but not least, swap ideas with each other. Open up your classroom door, invite other people in, go out and see other people in their classroom as well. It's one of the best things about my job is that I'm able to go and look at other people's teaching, and I see a lot of good quality out there. I know it's out there and I know it's happening on a daily basis, and we have to have that ability to share with each other, and the freedom and the courage to share with each other as well. You know, the improvements that we need to make will be done by us working together. They won't be done by us closing doors and going away and thinking I'll do my own thing on my own because I'm too scared of other things. Go and look at other people and share ideas with them. It is a great motivational tool if you see other people and you think, wow, that's great. So thank you for listening tonight. I hope you've had some ideas from that and wish you well on your journeys. Thanks very much.